This is part 14 of Angular 14 series, and in this session we'll discuss about the code management, and this is obviously part 2. And if you are new in this session, please go through the code management part 1 before session. Okay, so now in this session we'll discuss about how to use proper data type and how to map a model and naming convention. So just open the slide here, and here I can see try to use proper data type for each property, data type management. So here in this example you can see the input type already is given. Okay, that means if I call this login method, so TypeScript will give you the intelligence, like what kind of data type exactly is asking for the login method. Okay, and next is, let's say if I mouse over on this login method from the caller function, there also here, see here actually it is showing that input is asking that iLogin type, so that I can pass the only iLogin type data, right? No more any extra data I cannot pass. Okay, and also you can see in this example that observable of object is returning, but I want maybe observable of something. If you want, then you can mention, right? So let's go to the code and see in action. So here I can see this login method we have already in the auth service, that it is asking that iLogin type. So if I go inside this iLogin type, so this is basically an interface, and which is having 3 properties. And here if I mouse over on this, then it is returning observable of object. But here I can tell like this. Now I want maybe observable of, I will create one data type here. Okay, let's say this inside this models, or I say API response dot model dot ts file, and here export interface I API response, and my API actually is returning data is any type, and along with the data ID also is coming number type, and message is coming as string. Okay, this is actually this object actually coming from API, I know. So based on your implementation, you should aware of the API response, what kind of object is returning. Based on that, you just create the model. Okay, now here I would like to create index.ts file, export star from this, and export star from user interface. Let me save it and use this IAPI response inside this. Okay, IAPI response. Now moment I add this return type, actually it is returning or throwing an error. Okay, so it's not compatible to object to IAPI response. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to use the pipe method to map the model. Okay, so API response is coming, and here what I will do, I will convert, let's say constant, or maybe I can put it as model, and here API response as IAPI response. Okay, now just return this model, converted model. So why I'm actually just converting it like that, because my API response and I have created my UI model response exactly similar. So that is why directly I'm able to convert it directly with this as keyword. Okay, but if we have different kind of properties, like for the load user, actually API is sending the profile pic instead of profile pic path. So this profile pic path is actually being used in UI model. So that is what actually we are converting like this way. But here in this scenario, the exactly same thing. So that is why I'm directly converted now into the model. Okay, now if I mouse over on this login model, now it is clearly stating that observable of IAPI response is returning. Now if I go inside this login component TS file, and here I can see this API response. Now where is that API response? Actually, for the testing purpose, we kept as any type here. Okay, so here I will remove this now. And now if I mouse over on this, see API response type is coming, right? Now if I put dot, see now these are the properties available. So this is the beauty of TypeScript. And now let's save this change. And now next go to the next step is convert API response into API proper data model. So this is also done. Now next thing is always try to keep same alias name for DI. DI means dependency injection. Like we have this sample here. So for authentication service, we injected and we kept a name as alias name as auth context. Also somewhere other file or maybe some other component you imported injected this same auth service, but you kept a different alias name. That is a bad approach. Okay, wherever you use the alias name for a specific service, keep try to keep it is as it is everywhere in the application, so that it will help you to change later on, I mean rename. Otherwise it would be very difficult. So now in our case, if we see this login component, we have injected auth service, but here we name it as account context. That is a bad idea. But if we check the same auth service, if I check, let's say right click on this, find all references, how many places it is being used. So now let's say here data resolver service, see auth context we are using. And for root auth guard, here also auth context name is using. And if we go inside this authorized directive, here auth context, everywhere we are using the auth context. But only one place, only this is the place where we are using the account context. So let me change this as well with this. Okay, fine. Now the consistency is maintaining, right? Later on, if you try to change this auth context to be with only underscore auth, so we can easily change this or replace it, right? So this is the main advantage to have the consistency alias name for the dependency injection. Okay, and just try to implement in your application, in your project. And if you have any difficulties or if you have any concern with this approach or anything, you just feel free to reach to me, or you can directly comments in the comment box. Okay, so that I can help you out. So thank you for listening. Have a great day.